Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video for DM tips for Call of the Netherdeep, Chapter 6. I want to make your prep a little bit easier, share some notes for you, some pacing ideas, some maps, some music. Let's get started. This is Chapter 6 of Call of the Netherdeep, and it is big. Let me show you the whole map here for the adventure. I like to do my maps and pictures and everything all on one screen to save time going between screens. I, of course, have it all hidden by fog of war until the players, interact with each part of it. So there's the whole map for the Netherdeep. And this adventure would be great as just a standalone dungeon crawl, even if that's what you're doing with it. So let's look at pacing. It's kind of naturally broken up into three parts. There's the Grottos of Regret, the Vents of Fury, and the Chasm of Yearning. But you'll find by the end of the midway through the second session, it's kind of dragging on a little bit with a lot of the same type of stuff. And by that time, the players, their characters probably have what they need to enter into the Heart of Despair by passing through the heart here at the center of the dungeon. So for my table, it ended up being just 2 sessions. You can do 2 or 3 as it works out best for you. The first session, you'll have character intros, recapping the adventure, the rivals, who are now going to be tier 3 and a pretty good match for the characters at 10th level. Then you'll have the adventure. And it's one big dungeon crawl with nothing keeping the characters from going to any of the 3 major areas. So I say Grottos of Regret, continue, and then a long rest for the first session. That's probably what will happen. You probably won't get out of the Grottos of Regret for the first session, but you may. You may get into the Vents of Fury or the Chasm of Yearning. So you kind of have to prep most of the adventure. If you want to artificially cut off the adventure at the Grottos of Regret, that's certainly a good way to go. That way you kind of cut your prep time down a little bit. And if for some reason you need to pad the pacing, you can add more random encounters, more rival interactions. Cliffhanger here, there's a long rest opportunity where the party can portal back and you could, end the adventure there for that session of the adventure. Then when they come back into the adventure, you can resume from wherever they left off the first time. Then continue into the Grottos of Regret, Vents of Fury, Chasm of Yearning, whatever order they explore these areas in. So I have this very large map here, and everything's interconnected. So these are the Grottos of Regret, the kind of the grayish colored areas. The Vents of Fury are these kind of reddish blue areas here all the way around. They're the next closest area. And then the Chasm of Yearning is the darker blue color here. At the end of the second session or at the end of the third session, you'll want to get the party to a position where they're coming to this final room. And a good cliffhanger there is, if you don't want to have the battle like if you're doing it at the end of your second session, is to have the party see this huge globe and at the same time see like a shadow pass over a wall, and that's their rivals. And then you could cut it off there. The next part of the adventure, Chapter 7, doesn't really take a full 4-hour session. So it doesn't hurt to have the battle to get into it and it at the same time. That's what I did. Okay, so there's the ideas for pacing. Now, let's talk about some of the notes for the adventure. And I'll put the pacing and all the notes down in the description below, so you'll have that handy. For music, I really used just this one sound, the Sunken Temple by Tabletop Audio. That worked really well throughout. You can hear it's playing in the background now. I'll turn it up here. So there it is, Sunken Temple by Tabletop Audio. Really works well for this environment. Now, for reference information. So if you look in the beginning of the adventure, you'll find some important reference information. One, of course, is the fragments that the party is going to come across. These fragments are fragments of the psyche or personality of the Elixian, and each one of them has a little card that describes what they do. So I put these cards out there on the map to reveal to the players when they find them. I also had a copy of the character tokens over to the side with each of the cards added as the players gathered them, so they'd have a reference to go look and see what fragment they had picked up. Okay, light here. The whole place is engulfed in darkness. Light's half normal range. If you're doing dynamic lighting, keep that in mind. You'll have to want to cut the range down for stuff. I normally don't do dynamic lighting. I find it's a little hard on the players, especially the ones who are in the back. It's not quite as enjoyable for them, so I don't do that normally. But if you do, half range on light. Ruidium. So ruidium is a big thing in this campaign, and it's everywhere down here in the Netherdeep. And touching it for more than a few seconds makes a 20 charisma save or become infected with the ruidium. Here's my quick link for the ruidium. Levels of corruption that can go through, and they each cause exhaustion and do some psychic damage. Addition, the characters could have weapons, shields, and armor. So weapons, if they roll a 1, charisma save, 20. Shields, if they use the reflect power, 15 charisma save. Rudium armor, if they roll a 1 on a save, 20 charisma save. There are some secret doors down here. With 10 minutes of searching, you can make a 20 investigation check to find a secret door. Then the water pressure throughout this place is overbearing. It's basically d6 damage every round, 10 d6 every minute, unless you are wearing or wielding ruidium or have it ruidium implanted in you. Okay, now the lore. This is an important part. So to get kind of a background of the Elixian story, every time the party has a short rest or a long rest, they'll have a vision. Every time they absorb a fragment, they'll have a vision. Every time they fall unconscious, they'll have a vision. And there's various rooms where there's other ways they can have visions noted. There's 20 visions, so you want to keep track of which ones the party had, and they give the party insight about how they will defeat the Elixian and or what's gone on with the Elixian. Now, as they're in specifically mostly the Grottos of Regret, they can find ways to heal or to placate the Elixian. And I'll put in the description below a list of all those ways. You can kind of check them off as you go, keep track of them, keep track of what the party's done. And that'll come into play in Chapter 7 when the party faces the Elixian. Maps. So, of course, there's the map for the adventure. And you can see I put a lot of notes on my maps, if I have time. I've got the room descriptions. I've got important things like secret doors. This map, unfortunately, I had to go Photoshop the secret doors to hide them a little bit better. I don't think there was actually a version that had them well hidden, so you'll have to spend a little time doing that, probably. Notes about when things happen, when visions happen, where the party sees light, and these things like what the party can see. Like here I have a spear, a short sword. I'll put them on the map so the players can see where they're at when I describe them. And then, of course, I have with a Control Z, I can show these pictures that I have on the map. So there's a spear, and I have, when they touch the spear, there's a vision. There's a picture to go along with that vision. And then when they get to important rooms where there's a lot going on, I will put more stuff that they can see. So I made that so the party could see it, the party could see that, and that. This is just an invisible token with the hit points here on this guy. It's a good thing, good tip to have, always an invisible token. You can do a lot of things with those, and you can know where they're at if you give them hit points, or you can give them an aura that only the DM can see, and then you'll have a visible token to you on the object layer, but invisible to the players. Okay, so this is the big map of the adventure. These early rooms in the Grottos of Regret, there's a lot of visions that happen, and the party's like transported into another place. For those maps, I'll put links below. I use these cool maps from Heroic Maps. So I got the N2 Farmhouse, the N3 Forest, Moonlit Forest. I have the Sacked Village. I've got the Parched Battlefield, and I've got the Ruined House, where the three ghosts are. Okay, so there's the maps. Then we have 3 parts of the adventure, the Grottos of Regret, and that basically has these visions the party will have. Nothing really major interact with the Elixian outside of those visions. In the Vents of Fury, in each of these locations, if the party speaks out against the Elixian, bad things will happen. And so you'll want to watch that. You want to check page 156 of the hardcover. Will give you like how the things ratchet up if the party speaks badly of the Elixian. In the Chasms of Yearning, these blue-colored areas, the Elixian will kind of manifest in strange forms, weird events, and page 164 of the hardcover goes over those. A statue the party can teleport back to the entry with, and that's a great ending place for the first part of the adventure. And when the party comes back for the second part of the adventure, they can spread out left or right and explore. You have the interaction here with Theo, who is like a aspect of the Elixian. That's pretty cool. Got the red moon here in this room. Oh, here's the thing I use often. A little token. It's nice to have a little token for an open door. So you can kind of just drag it on the map and show, okay, that door's open. The party has a reference to that door being open. And if they decide to shut it, then you just, move it off the map or wherever. Okay, the adventure itself, it takes a lot of reading, a lot of prep. There's a lot going on here. But it's really cool, and it's really open-ended the way it works. I'm just kind of going through all the rooms for you, give you what notes I use. So you can pause the video and take a look at the notes I put on the map here. These Vents of Fury, if the party defeats a creature in these Vents of Fury, then there is often a repercussion. And so I put a little note about what those repercussions are. Oh, this room, I didn't move these back, but there's a shield and a greatsword at 2 of the vents. And this is a great room here. And if either one are removed, then there's the fire heats up here in the Vents of Fury. But this is a great room to have the rivals come in from the opposite side. So if you find you want to extend it out to 3 sessions, or even on 2 sessions is going fast, you can put a rival encounter right here in this room. That's a great place to have one. In addition, finally, to the final encounter here at the end. Just going through the rooms up north, so you can pause and take a look at the notes here on the map. That is it. So I hope you have a great time running Chapter 6. I'll be back pretty soon with a video for Chapter 7 and the conclusion of Call of the Netherdeep. Thank you for checking out this video. Make sure to look at the notes for links to all the things I talked about. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, leave a tip. Anything's appreciated. And I'll leave you with another great video to check out. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you again.